So we got a beautiful morning, about 7 o'clock here in southern New Mexico, and I'm looking around for hot spots here, and I'm starting to detect something. And I'm just looking around to see if I can localize it. It's a little bit weak, but it seems to be a little hotter over here. Let me see if I can localize it. Okay, it doesn't seem to be this way, more this way. Okay, now when I find the hot spot, I move a little bit one way, move a little bit the other way, move a little bit down. So it seems to be right in here, right where this piece of quartz is. So let me get my pick and see if I can. I'm gonna put this down here, out of the way. Get my pick, see if I can dig this with one hand and hold the camera with the other. I may get lucky and it be somewhere close to the surface. If not, I'll have to put the camera down and dig with two hands. But sometimes you get lucky. This one sounds like it's a little bit deeper. So let's just see if it's still there. Ooh, it's gotten cold. That means it's down here in our dirt. Okay, let's just try to figure out exactly where it is. Somewhere right in here. See if we can find it here. So I know I've got it in my hand here. So let me just put my glove down here and see if I can eyeball it. It's not very big, whatever it is. Whatever it is, it's not very big. There it is. Okay. Well, I have to clean it off a little bit, but I would say it's one of these euxenites or yttriolites that I found up here. It looks like it's got a kind of a nice crystal form to it. You may be curious about the instrument that I use in the field for prospecting radioactive minerals, and I'll describe it briefly here. I bought the crystal. It's a sodium iodide crystal, and then I couple that with a photomultiplier tube, which serves as a photodetector to convert the flashes of light that occur here in the crystal. Whenever a radioactive decay particle impinges on the crystal, it'll actually create a little scintillation, which then get detected and amplified by the photomultiplier tube. And then I've got electronics down in this other end, which will process those signals, basically counting them and converting them to a rate that then get displayed here on my my display. Of course, it's important that this housing is very rugged because it gets knocked around in the field a lot, and this crystal and the photomultiplier tube are fragile. So they're heavily padded, and this is just a real robust case that's going to protect those things. An advantage is to have a large crystal. You know, the larger the crystal, the more sensitive your instrument's going to be, and allow you to detect specimens further away and deeper underground. But also, as you get a larger crystal, the whole instrument gets bigger and gets heavier, harder to carry around, because you'll carry this around in the field for many hours. And so that's the trade-off. Now, the other thing is the ergonomics of the instrument is such that you need to be able to stick it down in a hole, because sometimes you'll dig a hole, you know, a foot or more deep, and you're trying to figure out which direction to continue digging, and it helps to be able to stick the crystal down in the hole. I'll show you what happens when you get near a specimen. Is it'll start clicking. Now, that's called a squelch. You have the instrument adjusted so that it won't click unless you've got something higher than background. So you see my background is about 400 here in this room here in Arizona. But as you get somewhere near a specimen, you should start getting some clicks. And sometimes they'll be constant, sometimes they'll just be a few clicks here and there. That kind of alerts you to the possibility that there's a specimen nearby, or maybe just the background has changed. But you learn to identify the difference between a localized specimen or just a diffuse radiation. And so it takes a little practice to listen to the clicking and decide whether or not it's worth digging that hole. So I'll give you some more examples of that in the next video. Seems to be pretty localized. Starting to pick it up out here, but it gets stronger very quickly, so I think it's right here. So let me my digging tool is over here. Let's see if I can find it pretty quickly. Seems to be right in there. So let me just see. First of all, I try to get a staging area. Like right here, I can tell that this is about 700 or so right here. Whereas right here, it is, boy, it's hard to see. Whatever it is, 1300 or 1500. All right. So I know that I can move the rocks this direction. And if the signal moves, then I know that I've already found it. So let's just see if the signal is moved. I don't think so. No, it's still there. So I'm going to scrape away a little bit more. Let's move this out of the way. Scrape away a little bit more. If I don't hit it pretty soon, I'm going to have to start using the pick. Because you can see the ground gets pretty hard packed. So let's just see. Yeah, it's still still down there. So I'm gonna have to put down the phone and start to use the pick. So I've done a little bit more digging, and you can see now my hole is pretty quiet. But if I go over here to this pile of dirt, I can tell I've got something in here. So let me just see if I get lucky here. Put this a little bit further away. Seems like I've got something in my hand here. Let me just see. I think that's it. Let me just... Yep, that's it. So, let me go up and clean this off, and then I'll show you what it looks like when it's been cleaned a little bit. So this is what it looks like when it's been cleaned off a little bit. Looks like a very black, glassy specimen of some sort. I won't really know till I get home and test it. But you can see some of the other specimens that I've found actually are very close to the same spot. And surprisingly, I found another arrowhead. That's probably more exciting than anything else. I did an X-ray fluorescence analysis of this specimen, and given the high amount of tantalum and yttrium, this indicates a yttrio-tantalite.
Wow. Ooh. A lot of black glassy in that one. Interesting. Probably a yttriolite or got good crystal form. Yeah, it's got some big faces on it. I'll have to see if there are any other pieces of it in here. Well, there might be. May be able to find the brother. Put this one over here in my hat. I think there's another one in here someplace. And maybe the piece that broke off, in which case I can just glue them back together. Huh. Well, maybe another piece buried under here. Oh no. Let's see. There we go. Let's put it up here. Can you see that? Yeah, let's put it up here. Spread this out a little bit. See if we can figure out which piece it is. Something over here. Of course, this is not the best spot to be checking because it's right on top of a hot hole. Let me go over here, make sure this is relatively cool, and it is. There it is. Oh, another piece of black glassy. See if there's anything else. Now, these are some big pieces coming out of here. See if there's anything else in this dirt that came out of this hole. No, I think that's it. See how hot this hole is. Well, it's still hot, but it's not nearly as hot as it was. About 700 counts lower than it was when I was digging, so it's a great little find.
So we're in a turquoise mine, and background radiation is a little high because we have some uranium mineralization along with this copper. But we can see here these kind of shiny surfaces with kind of some lineations along them, and this actually represents movement along a fault. So this deposit seems to be fault hosted, and we have these fractures that are filled with turquoise. Let's see if we can see some of those over here. So we have
pretty.
we have just these veins and veinlets forming kind of a stockwork through this real soft, clay altered rock. Maybe altered granite by the looks of it. But yeah, we're definitely along a fault somewhere.
So we're right here at the entrance, and ever since we arrived here, my scintillator has been going berserk. So we got a background here of 2300. Normal we should be about 500 or 600. So I'm not sure I want to spend a lot of time in here. With projections of rain and snow, we decided to call it a weekend. But we'll be back for more radioactive adventures.